Yo, good morning. Welcome into the AtoZSports morning show on a Thursday. I am Easton. I am joined on a third string Thursday by JT Runke. JT, good morning.
Good morning.
How we doing?
I'm good. Can you really call it a third string Thursday? I mean, listen, if we're calling Zach and Austin the first string, but Zach's been,
Zach's
he's been on the
on
IR.
season-ending IR,
Yeah, he's on
perhaps? Yeah.
he's on season-ending IR. Does that really make us still the third string? I think that's the question of the day.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
It's a good point, but nonetheless, we're here. So
And when the third string is consistently outrating the other strings, I don't know
this is
that for a
true.
fact. I'm just
This is
guessing, just
true.
based on vibes. Yeah, we'll have to reconsider that. But it is, for now, people know it as Third String Thursday, so we'll rock and roll with that. The Week 14 slate of the NFL season gets kicked off tonight. JT, we've got a de facto playoff game. It's a loser leaves town game tonight, essentially.
Yes, it really is.
Lions Cowboys. The loser of that game is going to be in real rough shape in a pretty stacked NFC. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to our conversation today. As Austin says in the comments, ever the salesman. Like the show. He's right. Like the show, please. We appreciate that. And I'm just noticing that we're wearing the same hat. So shout out AtoZSports as well for the double sponsorship for free this morning, I suppose. We've got a lot to talk about today on the Titans front. We're going to be talking about draft stuff. It's a draft-y third string Thursday, and I hope that's all right with you all. As much as there is interesting coming out of Titans HQ every day, we're going to take a quick step away from that to talk about the Titans and their draft every once in a while as we near the new year. And JT, you know this as well as I do. As soon as the new year is upon us, especially for the bottom feeder teams like the Titans, the pedal to the metal is hit in a hurry. I mean, we get rolling. The Senior Bowl is on us out of nowhere, and then the Combine is a couple of weeks away, and then you're off to the races, and it's full-blown draft season. So, as our other buddy on the Nashville side of things here, Ryan Roberts would say, it is mock draft season. And Dane Brugler put out I believe his first full first-round mock draft of the year at The Athletic yesterday. He has the Titans trading down from the first overall pick. Spoiler alert, that's not the shocking part. The more interesting part is what he got for that trade and what he used the picks that he got to acquire for Cam Ward and the Titans. And we'll talk through the picks that he made. We will talk through history kind of trying to repeat itself with this draft class. We'll talk through what the Titans need to demand. I think there's a list of 2 demands they must make should they land the top pick or a tradable pick, frankly, to move down in this draft. And then we'll talk about, maybe we'll wrap up before sports trivia with some guys that we are keeping our eyes on in the college ranks who are playing in their conference championship games this weekend. So a whole lot to talk about on the future front for the Titans. I'm looking forward to it, JT. But before we get started, tell the folks what they need to do. You are muted, but you looked cool saying
I am
whatever
muted.
you said.
Yes, mock draft season is finally here. Dread it, run from it. It arrives all the same. I know you, of all people, aren't happy with that, but hey, when you're a 1-11 team, what else is there to talk about?
No, hang on.
We had this conversation yesterday.
I had a heart-to-heart with you all this morning on the production call.
Did.
Because and Austin will attest to this, I am probably the most persnickety person he has to deal with as a manager of the website when it comes to draft talk. Now, I love the draft. I make myself into an expert of sorts during draft season. But I'm like a work hard, play hard type when it comes to the draft. I like to play hard during this actual NFL season and pay practically no attention to the draft and then hit the books hard once the new year comes.
That's fair.
And I do that in part because I know that if I try to become year-round draft guy, and the folks that do that, God bless them for being able to do it, I can't do it. Because by the time the actual draft gets here, I'll be so burnt out, I'll hate it. And I don't want to remove the joy that the draft brings me from my heart. So that being said, usually this time of year is when folks are on me like, hey, do your first mock draft in November. Hey, let's start talking about prospects. And I'm like, no, I don't want to. But the Titans, I think we found the line. The Titans have broken me. Usually this time of year, I'm like kind of pissed off to do a show like today. This year, kind of don't mind it. Kind
Yeah.
of,
I mean, hey,
kind of enjoying
listen,
it.
if this is what we had this conversation yesterday, right? If this is what it needs to be, I think also this is going to be a lot more a more fun draft cycle because last year was all about the quarterback and we don't really have to talk about that this
That's right.
time. We
Good
can
point.
get into the debates. Like there are already people like saying you take these two players or you walk. So I think there's going to be people who attach themselves to like a certain edge rusher, a certain wide receiver. It's like this guy or bust and it's going to be a fun cycle.
December 4th, we are planting flags. We are planting flags on December 4th.
But Darren says we're being positive today. If draft talk is positive, then I will be positive for the rest of the season because I'm ready to jump back into that. Get the copium machine back hooked up and start huffing that copium and more positivity.
Hey, can't lose once the game stops.
Yes, exactly.
Can't lose once the game stops.
But before we get into that, we need a couple things from you guys first and foremost. If you are watching via YouTube, we appreciate you, and we thank our friends over at YouTube, especially King VC, who gave us a super chat. Thank you for that. Who says, lock in and like the show. He's always on top of that. Good to see you, King. And you should follow his advice. Lock in, like the show, hit that subscribe button down there if you have not already. If you are watching on YouTube, which I see that a lot of you guys are, we need some help out there as well. If you could do us a favor and hit that like button, like the page, and hit that share button down at the bottom to send it with a Titans fan, maybe a Titans fan who has not checked into this team in a while and say, hey, it's mock draft season. Let's talk about who the Titans might get.
Come on back.
At that here. You guys are doing better. I was about to clown the Facebook group because right before I started that spiel, we were sitting about at like a sixth of the Facebook viewers had liked the show, and that was going to be unacceptable. But we're getting back up. So good to see that here. Excited to get into today's topic. And with that, Easton, as long as you can still
hear me?
I can hear you.
What?
Your screen is frozen, but
I'm noticing this. Hello? Unfreeze, please.
I mean, maybe... Oh
no, it got worse.
Now you are a black screen.
But you can still hear me, right?
Yes, I can still hear you.
Well, guess what? This is how talented I am. I'm going to troubleshoot this while telling the folks about the show the way I'm going to. All right. I'm going to fix this in a second. Actually, no, I need to fix this now. People need to
fix this now. Okay. Well.
Hey, there we
go.
Can you see me? Hello?
Yes, I can.
Hi. Man. I don't know what that was about.
You know what? You know what happened?
What?
Zach heard us say that he was no longer first string.
That's right.
Came down from the top ropes of the A to Z headquarters out of the wall and said, "Get this guy off the stream. We have to put them back in their place." So now we're back down the third string.
That's right. Sorry. That's just the truth. I don't have to tell you. Welcome into the AtoZSports Morning Show, live on a Thursday morning. We are brought to you by BTA Sports. We're live every weekday morning at 8:10 Central Time, streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Our links are tweeted out segment by segment on our Twitter feed at AtoZSports. And follow us on Instagram and TikTok as well for more Titans coverage. Also follow us on Google with the link that I will send in the chat right now. That is something that you can do to both help your... Well, now it's not letting me copy the link. There we go. It's going to help you modify your feed on Google, see the sources that you prefer. And, of course, AtoZSports is where you want to go for all of your NFL and college football news. So follow us there. It's very helpful for your own feed, and it's very helpful for us, of course, for Google Analytics. So we appreciate you guys doing that and clicking that link in the description that is in there now. Got to thank our sponsors for making the show happen and helping out you all at home. Wilson County Hyundai. Make Wilson County Hyundai a part of your new car buying process in Lebanon or at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedics and sports medicine. Check them out at boneandjointtn.org. Barton Drury Insurance Group, customized solutions for all of your insurance needs, local and online at bartondrury.com. Botero Carts. Life is short, so buy a golf cart with our friends at BoteroCarts.com with 2 locations to serve you in Columbia and in Gallatin, open 7 days a week. And Window Nation. Take advantage of Window Nation's end-of-year sale. Oh, no, is this... I got to check back in because I thought this ended in November, JT. So Window Nation was doing 50% off all of window styles. I'd imagine they probably have some new deal right now, but we need to... I hope Austin's listening. Austin! You're the window guy around here. We need to know what the window deal is right now for the holiday season. So Window Nation, check them out. Maybe their deal's on the website. Go to their website or call them at 866-90Nation today, and you could get your Build-A-Great windows replaced with new custom windows. Their consultation is for free. So have them out and have them tell you what they could do to make your house a whole lot better. Okay. So while we are in the process behind the scenes of discovering what the window deal of the month is, JT, let's talk about the mock draft that Dane Brugler posted at The Athletic yesterday.
So
we're going to keep that
Yes.
train rolling. Okay. So it is 50% off of all window styles with up to 0% financing for 3 years. So that is a fantastic deal that you can still take advantage of. I don't know if anyone has ever gifted somebody windows in the history of Christmas, but now's the time. Now's the time to start that
That'd be
trend.
awesome.
Sure. Like, hey, I got you new windows. Your consultation is Thursday. We have a couple of angles on this mock draft that we want to talk about. Let's start with the actual trade that he made. So as long as the Titans maintain the first overall pick, everybody on the planet that does a mock draft is going to have the Titans trading down for obvious reasons. I do find it funny in general, JT, by the way, that if the Titans do land the first overall pick, obviously that territory will not be unfamiliar to Mike Borgonzi. And I find it funny how any GM, whenever they get the first overall pick, surely tells themselves, like, make it count. You're probably never going to be here again. It's very hard to get the first overall pick and to make that selection. It's a great responsibility. And Mike Borgonzi is threatening to go 2 for 2, batting 1,000 on first overall picks as an NFL GM.
Well, to be fair to Mike Borgonzi, he came into this situation. He did not put the roster together himself to get to that.
It's not a Trent Baalke situation who just did this, right? That is more on him.
So to be fair, while he is back-to-back on this, the roster he put together this year is the only one I would realistically say is on his spot. Now, if we get 3 years in a row, that'd be, first of all, impressive. Second of all, would see him out of town.
I bet he wouldn't be here to make the third one.
He would not be out of here.
You get to make 3 of them.
It would be impressive. But yes, right. You don't want to be back here. I
didn't bring that up to dunk on Borgonzi, obviously.
Absolutely,
It's funny that he probably thought, like, wow, first year, first overall pick, what a privilege. Second year, how about first overall pick again, buddy? Are you ready?
I mean, it's not the worst spot to be in, especially if you are like that GM that does come into that situation, right? Mm-hmm. I think you take that into perspective, and I would say it's a big make or break draft for Mike Borgonzi. Absolutely. You are basically playing with house money once again, and more so than ever because you have that quarterback. I liken it already to the Bears situation, in which obviously the quarterbacks aren't comparable, but you did in that sense have Justin Fields around still. You had a quarterback that you liked and wanted to try to build with, and you had that first overall pick, and you said, let's go find the best trade possible. And you look how they turned out, getting that wide receiver and DJ Moore for that year, getting all those things. It's going to be very interesting to see how they attack this. And I think this is what we're going to get into, and how they attack it is going to be, I think, have to be very aggressively to get the most possible.
And everything we're going to talk about today is under the assumption the Titans get the first overall pick. If the season ended today, they get the first overall pick. But there are 5 games left, and we have seen basically every year we see the first overall pick change hands a couple of times at the end of the year. Certainly was the case last year when the Titans were the ones that ended up with the winners of the game of musical chairs when the music stopped. Here's what Dane Brugler's trade was in his mock draft. He had the Cleveland Browns being the lucky winners of the first overall trade sweepstakes, coming up for Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana. And Dane Brugler wrote, owning 2 first-rounders in April and having received marginal play under center this season, the Browns have the ammo and motivation to be aggressive quarterback hunters this offseason. Cleveland traded back in last year's draft to be in position to get its guy in 2026, and neither Dylan Gabriel nor Shadur Sanders has done anything to change that plan. In this scenario, the Browns package both of their 2026 first-rounders and probably a 2027 Day 2 selection to Tennessee for rights to the number 1 pick. So he has the Titans moving back to pick 5 and pick 26. Is that right, JT? Off the top
I
of
believe
my head?
so.
5 and 26 is what, as of
right
today,
now.
and
Yeah.
this is liable to change, obviously. I mean, if the Browns win this weekend against the Titans,
It's going to change.
that number 5 pick will change. If they lose, then all of this changes. So that is subject to change, but we have those 2 picks he made at 5 and 26 to talk about here in a second. We're going to put them in the back burner for just a moment, though, on the show. We will get to the 2 guys that he selected and kind of talk through our feelings on them early on. But first of all, let's look at Tankathon. As of today, the Titans remain the only team with only 1 win on the season. And this is interesting to me, JT, because history is slowly trying to repeat itself. Again, 5 weeks of football left. A lot can and will change. But if the season ended today, you've got the Titans and the Giants in the first 2 picks. Now, let me pause my actual point to point out how funny it is that the 3 top teams in the draft order right now are the 3 teams playing. 4 of the top 5 are the only teams playing rookie quarterbacks. So, just a little glimpse into what life with a rookie quarterback is in the modern NFL, I would say. It tends to not always go the greatest for you. The Titans, the Giants, the Saints, and the Browns all struggling mightily, all finding themselves in similar territory to where they were last year. Now, they didn't all select quarterbacks this high. In fact, only the Titans did, but they all ended up getting the quarterback that they're playing now in last year's draft class, and it's led to them getting at most 3 wins so far. But the element of this that I find most interesting, history repeating itself, is that the Titans and the Giants were the 2 that picked first-round quarterbacks in Jackson Dart and Cam Ward. They're the 2 that we are sure aren't going to pick a quarterback this year, right? Like, they're not going to move off of those guys this early. With the Saints, that's a TBD situation. With Cleveland, we all expect them to go and get somebody else and not try to ride with the day 3 guys they selected. But with the Titans and the Giants being the only 2 teams that don't need a quarterback at all this year, having the top 2 picks, it's going to make for very fun draft trade talk. And the last time the Titans were in this position, exactly 10 years ago, it was the same thing, JT. There were 2 quarterbacks at the top of that class named Carson Wentz and Jared Goff. And the Titans and the Browns owned the first and the second overall pick, and both of them traded out, the Titans with the Rams and the Browns with the Eagles, to make those selections at quarterback, and both got pretty significant hauls. We'll talk about how much they got here in just a second. But I just am kind of wanting to manifest the Titans and the Giants to be the first 2 picks so that we can get the weird and wonderful Mexican standoff all draft season long, where the Titans and the Giants are the have teams, which is funny to call them halves, but in terms of quarterbacks, they're the have teams over here. And then you've got the Browns and the Saints and the Raiders and the Rams and the Steelers and the Cardinals and whoever else might need a quarterback over here, and they're all trying to make a deal and double cross each other and consider different trades and different scenarios. And that just sounds like a lot of fun to me.
Yeah, I absolutely agree here. That is one of the things I think for sure that you look at and you say, hey, it's going to be to the highest bidder for sure. And with the Titans right now staying here, which I think they may actually end up being there still. I think this is a spot where the Titans really need to say, since you are the first, I think they have in this have versus have nots, right? The Titans still have the upper hand against the Giants because there's something that comes with that number 1 spot. Like, you get whoever you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just the going up to the Giants and saying, we'll take the best of whoever is still there, right? It is you can get whichever quarterback you want. You have the pick of the litter, right? And that's
moving up to 2 is getting a quarterback. Moving up to 1 is getting your quarterback.
Your guy. And I think that is always going to reign supreme. And I think that's why Mike Borgonzi would be in that scenario in a position to demand literally anything he wants, because you are there to get your guy, right? If you want to come up and get your guy, that is the price you have to pay. And I mean, you look at what the Browns got last year for Travis Hunter, not even a quarterback, right? Who's to say that with that kind of haul that they got last year in that draft, who's to say that you can't get more than that because of the importance of the quarterback position? And I think that's where I stand today. It is, you have the best possible outcome there at the number one, because you are in the driver's seat to demand literally anything. And we've seen this time and time again. And I don't think it's a stretch of the imagination, because we saw the Panthers do it. Like I liken it back to that, to the Bears once again. You liken it back to that Bears trade, where they kind of got everything and anything they wanted in that trade, because once again, you are in the position to draft your guy. And that was right there with the Texans also needing a quarterback, with the Colts needing a quarterback. The Panthers go up and they get their guy, and overpaid to get their guy, because they wanted the added benefit of being able to choose.
And that brings us to our first question. Are the Titans getting enough back for the number one overall pick in Dane Brugler's latest mock draft? A reminder, Dane Brugler has the Titans trading the first pick to the Browns, the Titans moving back to pick 5, pick 26, and as he puts it, probably a day 2 pick, not a round 2 necessarily, but a day 2 pick in 2027. If that was the nature of the trade package they received from the Browns, or from anybody else for that matter, would that be enough to satisfy you? While you all are answering that in the comments, I want to tell you about our friends over at Window Nation, who we have now confirmed, thank goodness, the deal that we can sell to you all today is the same deal that we were able to sell to you all in November. Window Nation, the fine folks over there, extended their end-of-year sale through December. It's 50% off of all window styles. You could get up to 0% interest financing for 5 years. So schedule a fast and free estimate now at the pros at Window Nation. 866-90-NATION is the number to call, or go to windownation.com to replace your old or builder grid windows with custom-built, high-quality windows from Window Nation. Our boy Austin just did this. His house now has beautiful windows that are somehow lined with silver. Nobody really knows what that means, but he's really excited about it, and you can be too. Check him out today, 50% off of all window styles with Window Nation.
Yeah, also shout out to our friends at AtoZSports. BTA is better for bettors. Easton, I don't know if you've been on the show yet. I imagine you were on the show and this was announced on Tuesday, but AtoZSports is getting better and better, including adding Major League Baseball this spring and summer. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to teach you how to get in on all the action with Major League Baseball, specifically telling you when to bet on the Mets and when to bet not on the Mets. I was about to say,
what I'm excited about is now I get to not only enjoy the Mets losing, I get to profit off of the Mets losing. You get to make money off of it.
Yeah. And you all can too.
Might make me a baseball guy. It just might.
Use the code ATOZSports when you download the app to get a 14-day free trial. So that gets you the next 2 weeks of NFL action. And then $79.99 for the year pass. That essentially gets you the entirety of the MLB season, almost the entirety of next NFL season, including all of the major changes and upgrades and everything that they're bringing to the BTA Sports app. It's such a great deal. Use the link in the show description or right below the title on Facebook, BTA, where insight meets instinct. I hope, and then also, speaking of Facebook, I think we're back on there. I know people were saying they were having trouble with that, but it seems like people are still commenting and responding to the questions. So if you are having trouble on Facebook, that's a you problem. I'm not going to say it's our fault anymore.
Just go to YouTube. Yeah, just flip-flop back and forth between Facebook and YouTube until you find one that works. JT, I'll send you the comments. We asked the question, are the Titans getting enough in the hypothetical trade back from the number one pick in Dane Brugler's mock draft at The Athletic yesterday? What are the folks saying?
Yeah, I honestly, this could have been a poll, and if it was, it would be a landslide poll. Curtis starts us off and says no. Big says no. Tall Texan says you have to find someone idiotic like the Jags GM to trade with. Fortunately, the teams at the top that need quarterbacks normally have bad GMs, which I think is fair. I mean, also, I don't mean to continue to go back to the
Like Mike Borgonzi, by this logic, Mike Borgonzi, bad GM.
I guess
Well, the teams at the top tend to have bad GMs, right?
Yeah, I don't mean to go back to the Chicago analogy, but it also could take a bad owner to get you to the top, kind of like the Carolina Panthers in that situation. So I think it takes a lot of that, but that's fair.
Do teams at the top tend to have bad owners, JT?
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes they do. So,
Only
Titans,
one of those was a joke. All right,
yeah.
keep going.
Titans Kyle says no. Nope. Let's see. No, I need a 27 first, says Darius, because those receivers will be absolutely warranted. Dre says no, they'd probably trade it for the 31st straight up as a clown show organization. Way to have some positivity there, Dre's. Tom Thumb says you got to get a 27 first. Eric says no. Darth says
Hang on.
no.
What is Tom Thumb's profile picture?
I think it's.
Is that an ancient Chinese Shane Gillis?
It is. I think so.
Like in a painting with Confucius?
I think so.
That's a new one.
Darth says no. Chris says absolutely not. Scotty says yes. First, yes. That is enough for Scotty there. Guy says no.
Browns fan. Gotta be a Browns fan.
Bork says no. Trading first overall without a first in the next draft is asinine. Dak says need a 27 first as well. Tall Texan says hell no. Quarterback talent in this draft does admittedly suck, but still not enough.
According to who?
Yeah.
The first two picks of the draft are going to be quarterbacks.
Yes, they are.
They suck?
Titans 2-7 says no, not enough. I'd rather load up with picks for next year, so both 1s and a 2 next year. Skip says absolutely not. Nope. Corey says yes. Everyone always overvalues these picks. The Jags did not last year.
Huh.
The Cowboys don't. The Jets certainly are not.
But what is this logic? If everyone overvalues them, then you should get an overvaluation in your trade, right?
Yeah, I think so there. Lucas says no, not even close. Let's see. Rick says no. Jordy says he does like it. Absolutely not. So it's a lot of no. A lot of people are of the opinion that this is not enough for the number 1 pick this year. And King VC also says 27 first is a mandatory requirement. I am of the belief that I also am kind of on that train, that 27 first is mandatory. The problem there is, does that mean it is a 27 first, a pick swap 27 first, and then not that extra first that the Jets or Browns may have in this draft or something like that? I don't know, right? That's where you get it.
But you'd rather, if that's the option.
If I had the option, I'd rather take the 27 first and then a couple other picks on day 2. If it meant I could either get that or day 2 picks next year. I think you look at this class and what it's building up to be. There's going to be a lot of good picks made on day 2 this year that I think are going to be impact players if they were brought to the Titans immediately. It's a lot deeper at the positions of need, and the talent is a lot better at positions of need. You could really say that all across the board, this draft is like there are more high-end picks in prospects this year than I think there were last year, where we said rounds 3 and 4, the meat and potatoes of this draft are really good. I think the high end in terms of round 1 and round 2 in this class are a lot better than maybe the rest of the rounds. And now that is still all developing. But I do think, like, if I had to pick right now, I'm prioritizing that 27 first because of how bonkers this class may be next year.
So I have a lot of thoughts on this that I want to share all of. And as teased on the screen right below my face, the 2 demands in a draft trade that Mike Borgonzi must make, I want to start with that. because I think that there are two things the Titans, and you've touched on one here with the 2027 first, but I sort of disagree with you and with Bork and with others in the comments who said a 27 first is mandatory. I think that there are workarounds here. So I'll explain that here in just a second once I tell folks about our friends at Botero Carts. Life is short, so buy a golf cart today with Botero Carts. They offer 0% financing for 36 months on carts starting at just under $6,800. Open 7 days a week. Locally owned and operated full-service sales and rental dealership with 2 locations to serve you in Columbia and in Gallatin, Tennessee. No dealer fee, no credit card fees, even a no credit needed option if that's something that you are interested in. So check them out today. Botero Carts. Get yourself a golf cart for Christmas.
Yes. BTA Sports as well. Use this code AtoZSports when you download the app to get that 14-day free trial, and then $79.99. That gets you the upcoming MLB season. It gets you next season. I have not checked the line on BTA, but absolutely will for tonight's playoff bout. As you said, loser goes home type of
Loser
game
leaves
tonight.
Town.
Yeah. There's the phrase there, but excited to use them tonight. BTA Sports, where insight meets instinct.
So here are the two things that the Titans must demand if they have the first overall pick and trade down from it. And I wrote about this at AtoZ Sports yesterday. I said there are plenty of prospective trade partners for the Titans to court this year, should they have the top pick. Indiana's Fernando Mendoza and Oregon's Dante Moore are looking like picks 1 and 2 in this class heading into the college football playoff, and the QB-needy teams are going to be antsy to position themselves to take one of them in April. Here's the order of demands the Titans must make. Number 1, hand over that 2027 first, pal. And that's what you have been saying. That's what the folks in the comments have been saying. That should be the first priority, is we want that 2027 first. But the second demand, should the first demand be too sticky of a sticking point, is that folks should get ready to pay the keep my 2027 first tax in an absolute haul. If a team is wanting to trade for the first overall pick and absolutely does not want to give you their 2027 first, I think there are ways to get around that in the general framework of what Dane Brugler laid out here, but it's going to require a whole lot more. Now, number 1, why are we so obsessed with the 2027 first overall pick? I am somebody that is always pretty daggum suspicious, hesitant to lean into our preconceived notions about the strengths and weaknesses of a draft class more than a couple of months out. Just because even in my short time in this industry, I have seen more times than I can count us, and I say us, like the consensus football community, have an idea about a class that turns out to be entirely untrue once we get to actually talking about it. I mean, this year, consider all of the quarterback lists that were put out roughly a year and a half ago before last season's draft, 1 year ago for about this season's draft. There we go. All the people talking about the quarterbacks that would be at the top of this year's class, and how none, amongst that list of 7 guys was not named Dante Moore and Fernando Mendoza. Those weren't the guys at the top of the list. Everybody else's guys. Arch Manning not coming out, Cade Klubnik, Garrett Nussmeier. Who else were we talking about?
Lenore Sellers imploding. Drew Aller absolutely imploding.
Falling apart.
Yep. Yes.
That was the list, and we're not talking about those guys. So that's just one of many, many examples I could go back and dig up of us thinking one thing and then it not coming true. That being said, I am going to cautiously join you and others on the train of the 2027 first round. The top of that first round is going to be full of blue chip quality prospects at premium positions, right? It's going to be headlined by the Arch Manning and the Jeremiah Smiths of the world. And those guys are going to be, they have the potential to be all world prospects. But even if the individuals that we're thinking about don't all pan out to be the highest of the potential we see in them by next year, there are just too many quarterback, edge, receiver, cornerback prospects lined up to enter the 2027 NFL draft class that already look like they'd be top draft picks today. Like if they were legally allowed to come out, you'd be like, yeah, these guys would be. I mean, where would Jeremiah Smith go in this year's class? Would we be sitting here talking about the Titans trading the first overall pick versus just using it on Jeremiah Smith? Probably we'd be having that conversation. So that's the kind of thing that leads me to agree with you guys. That's going to make those picks really valuable, particularly the top picks in that class.
Yeah, I mean, I remember right at the beginning of this college football season here, there was a discussion of would teams, if you could draft the rights to forego your pick this year and just draft the rights to Jeremiah Smith.
Get
so
a future
essentially,
on him?
essentially use your 26 first and 27 first to draft Jeremiah Smith.
Right.
Would you do that?
Like a hockey draft. Like
yeah,
we're
exactly.
drafted him and we'll see him in 3 years.
Yeah. Is that really worth it?
A team in the top 10 would have done that.
I think that is a fair. I think that is a fair conversation to have, and that's just one of the players that we will see come out next year. Who's to say that Cam Coleman also, as a wide receiver, cannot be one of those guys that is up there with Jeremiah Smith next year? Who's to say that obviously he has not lived up to that first year hype, and maybe doesn't next year either, but like Ryan Williams is still going to be a very interesting prospect. The quarterbacks that come out next year are going to be very, very interesting as well. And so I do think that outside, and it's always hard because I think we look at what, and this is always going to be the thing here, right? You're always looking to the next class to see what the quarterback is like. And I think that's where a lot of that talk last year was coming from, is just that the sheer volume of quarterbacks last year that could turn into something outweighed the idea of really the top three, which ended up in hindsight being the top two in Cam Ward and Jackson Dart. Like you look at what the possibility of those quarterbacks could be versus what there was in Cam Ward and Jackson Dart, and you reasonably said, yeah, this is a quarterback class that I'd rather be in instead of taking one this year. Now, would you be able to say that still? I don't know, because then you're putting Fernando Mendoza and Ty Simpson up against Cam Ward and Jackson Dart. Well, that's a discussion for a later date and for a different world, but that's the kind of thinking.
A discussion,
right?
we will have more times than we want to.
That's the discussion that you could have outside of this. But I'm still, no matter what, it's just good process to get that 27. No matter what the class is, I think the process we've always seen has been getting that future first, always in the draft. And here's the thing, right? When you talk about the I want to keep my 27 first tax, right? We kind of saw that with this Jaguars and Browns trade. We kind of saw it with a couple other trades. It's still possible, I think, to get, with how this class is shaping up, kind of like last year, to say, like, going back to this pick right here, with Fernando Mendoza, getting that first and getting the 5th overall pick, and then that 26th first in a 2027 day 2 selection. Who's to say that if Mike Borgonzi did this, it's only step 1 in the plan, right? Because we saw last year with how the Rams attacked their draft, there certainly were edge rushers still on the board, and it takes one person to come up like that, and then you end up being like the Rams this year and having that 9th overall pick right there currently. Like, who's to say that that's only step 1 in the plan, and getting the 23rd-ish pick isn't another opportunity for trade back, right? Or something like that, working the boards once again. I think that is all absolutely still in play here. And so it may just be the first stepping stone to a bigger opportunity for them down the road.
A couple of super chats here from Big Ten Jeff. He says, QBs don't move the needle for me this year. I wouldn't race up to one. Should take what you can get. Maybe a first and a second this year and then one next year for Jeremiah. Well, that's what we're talking about. But I have some math here to show you all on the value of these trades and why I do not think what Dane got was
I'm
enough.
interested to hear if he thought the quarterbacks last year moved the needle.
I'm sure he didn't. I think this is just what Big Ten Jeff does. Andre Bunting says, I don't want to move back too far and lose Arvell Reese or Ruben Bain, the top two rushers in this class, unless for a Panthers-type package. Getting Olave or Garrett Wilson and picks from the Saints and the Jets would work as well. And by the way, I say Reese and Bain, the top two edge players in this class. It appears that may not technically be the case because in the mock draft that we're talking about, Dane Brugler has an edge going before Ruben Bain does. I believe Bain goes after the guy that he took for the Titans at 5. So that's a tease for we'll talk about that in just a second. Here's the last element of this trade that I want to talk about, and then we will talk about the two players that were drafted. I did the math yesterday on the Titans' theoretical trade in this mock draft and compared it to what the Titans literally got in a trade for the first overall pick in 2016, 10 years ago. And when you do the trade value chart, and I use the Fitzgerald Spielberger trade value chart for this. You can use whatever chart you'd like, and it'll roughly come out to the same. But I plugged in these picks, and it has the Titans winning the trade by roughly 1,400 points, which, to put an actual value on that makes sense to anybody, that's the surplus value of a late first-round pick, like the 24th overall pick or something. So that's not nothing, obviously. An extra first in terms of surplus value is nice. But when we go back to 2016 and talk about the trade the Rams and the Titans made to go get Jared Goff, first you have to point out that in that trade, the Titans went from 1 back to 15 instead of 1 back to 5. So there is a blue chip opportunity cost tax you pay when you go back further. Like, that's always going to be an expectation, and that's fair. So they should win this trade on paper more than they won the first trade. But I'd say marginally, not dramatically. And the reality is dramatic. You do the math on that actual real life trade, and the surplus value comes out to $3,500 for the Titans, which is the value of 2 first-round picks in the early teens. So the theoretical trade that Dane Brugler made had the Titans winning by a surplus value of like the 24th overall pick. The surplus value of the real-life trade the Titans made 10 years ago for Jared Goff, another quarterback that wasn't exactly a generational prospect, by the way, was the value of like the 12th and the 13th overall pick. That's the neighborhood you need to be shopping in if you're the Titans, especially because, as we pointed out, there are no lack of teams that need a quarterback. It's not like it's a one-person market. The supply and the demand element of this is very real. When the Jets and potentially the Saints and potentially the Raiders and the Rams and the Steelers and the Cardinals and the Browns, these are all obvious trade-up candidates, and you need to pit them against each other and get a trade where you're getting that kind of value that you got 10 years ago instead of what Dane Brugler wrote yesterday in The Athletic.
Yeah, I think that perfectly puts in to put it up one more time, right? There's no, I mean, it's also, I think, fair to say you look at this, like you just talked about Arizona still up there in the top 10. LA, like real quick, like if LA wins the Super Bowl this year, I mean, it's not like they're in the same situation as they were last year with a bunch of guys on huge deals to like go all in. This is a team that has been put together very, very well and is still kind of cost controlled. If they win the Super Bowl, who's to say that they can't use those 2 picks and more to go get their quarterback of the future to keep this thing rolling? Like, that is also there. Minnesota, are they in a spot right now with what they have and Justin Jefferson on that deal and that defense? Like, there's going to be no shortage of different avenues for teams to come up, especially if you look at the type of quarterback that's coming out this year. Big arm, tall, built in a lab type quarterbacks who stand in the pocket and fit these kind of structures that a Kevin O'Connell or a Sean McVay like to use in their offenses. There's not, or even with the Steelers and what they want to do. Like, there's going to be no shortage of suitors to come up and get this number 1 overall pick. And so I do agree with you there. On merit alone, even if it isn't going back as far as 15, you absolutely, with how many suitors, need to get at least another 500 to 600 points of value there, just because of how many suitors there is. Because I'm sure whatever the offer is, there's going to be another team that will pay that.
Right, and that MB says, Easton, you also have to take into account that some of the teams aren't interested. Look at the Raiders and the Jets last year. Yeah, of course I'm taking this into account. But guess what? If there are 6 teams that are trade-up candidates and half of them aren't interested, that still means you have 3 teams to pit against each other. All you need is 2, and I think you'll easily get at least a third, and then you've got a market. You've got a market that you can start the bidding on. So I don't expect all of them to be just throwing every asset of their future at you, but I expect some of them to, because that's what a lot of these teams have explicitly positioned. I mean, like the Jets and the Browns and the Rams all pretty explicitly positioned themselves to be in a position to bid on a quarterback this year. Whether or not they choose to do so is another question, but they have set themselves up to do this months ago. I don't think they're just going to suddenly change their plans because I don't know why they would change their plans. Let's talk about the guys that Brugler actually picked before we get to sports trivia here, JT. He made a pick at 5. He made a pick at 26. He took, spoiler alert, an edge and a wide receiver. We'll read his write-ups on those guys and talk about the philosophy of what positions we want the Titans to take at those positions once you tell our friends about the Bone and Joint Institute.
Yeah, the Bone and Joint Institute, the region's destination for comprehensive
This is my fault.
orthopedics and sports medicine. Whenever you get hurt in life, you have to know who to trust. Just like you need to know that to trust that I have the graphic. That's why we trust here at the AtoZSports, the Bone and Joint Institute, right, which is located in Franklin with over a dozen specialists who can help you through any type of injury. They have a state-of-the-art rehab facility right off of I-65 near Franklin to help your recovery. And they can do everything under one roof for your convenience, whether that is the clinic, the testing, the imaging, the surgery, or rehab. They have you covered. To schedule your appointment, don't fumble your recovery. Go to boneandjointtn.org.
That's right. And as now I do my actual job clicking the graphic, I can tell folks about BTA Sports, dominating the game, better for bettors. Download the app today with the link in the description below. Use our promo code to get a discount on that annual pass. You will make more money off of the sports books on the BTA Sports app. I can guarantee that. So go and get that today. All right. I just heard a noise in my house that I can't identify. I've never heard it before. And I can't get up to figure out what it is either. So
I heard it too. So
what was it? It sounded like there was a cop flashing. Is like whoop whoop. That's what it sounded like, but I don't know.
Yeah. It's probably your child.
Yeah, but it sounded like a dog, and it sounded like it was in the room with me. But there's
okay.
Maybe it was a ghost. I don't know.
Okay.
So the Titans in this mock draft take Auburn's top prospect, Keldrick Falk, at the 5th position in their trade down. As Brugler writes, with substantial holes across their roster, ain't that the truth? The Titans are a near lock to trade down if they end up with the number 1 overall pick. One of the areas where they need reinforcements is on the edge, ain't that the truth? Where Falk shows a ton of promise. He is an impressive athlete at 6'6", 270, with the point of attack strength to create movement and shed blocks. Because of his young age, football character, and sky-high tools, Falk has a profile that is very similar to that of Michael Williams from last year's class. And I have now, by the way, identified the origin of that sound. I'm in the room with a baby monitor, and that monitor has like a walkie-talkie function. I believe the baby has the other end of the monitor and pressed the button and made a noise. I believe that via text from my wife. I believe that's what happened. So mystery solved, not a ghost.
I did like,
and it was in the room with me.
It was Orlando said the former neighbor came back for you. So
that was on the board until we identified what the sound was. So Keldrick Falk is a guy that I doubt folks have a super strong opinion on, unless you are an Auburn fan or just a diehard SEC fan, because Auburn was so sorry for most of the year. And he is somebody that is project is too strong of a term. He's somebody that's bad in your
No,
opinion.
I'm
You
just
don't.
out. Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm just out on this, and
Before
not
you,
to get
before
ahead of
you're,
everybody.
I'll let you explain being out on it.
Yes.
The general take, and again, I have not watched Falk yet. I don't have a super strong opinion on it. But as Brugler lays out there, he is one of the younger players in the class. He is somebody that has positional versatility. Right? What was 6'6", 270? Is that what it said? Yeah, 6'6", 270. So he has inside-out versatility. That's part of what he did at Auburn this year, and it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like, you love that versatility, but also the fact that he was versatile, and in college, in his senior year, or his final year, they were using him inside and out. It leads to wondering how much of a true edge presence he can bring, and if you're trying to get guys that bottom line impact the quarterback, is he the best option for you there, especially when in this mock, as I mentioned earlier, he's passing on Miami's Ruben Bain, and Bain goes a pick or two later in favor of Keldrick Falk. So if you really liked, and I think this is an apt description, by the way, just based on the general profile, the Micah Williams comp, who ended up in San Francisco this year and was playing pretty well last I checked before he got hurt, and unfortunately his rookie season was ended. That's probably going to be the Rorschach test. If you liked Michael, you're probably going to like Keldrick Falk when we all dive into it in the new year. If you didn't, like our boy Zach Lyons, you might hate this pick, and it sounds like you're not awfully fond of it either.
I'm not. I mean, I get where Brugler's coming from, right? You talk about something that he does attribute to the Titans here, which is football character. That same thing with Michael Williams last year. That was a huge sticking point. Mm-hmm. And there were talks when we were at the Combine, talking to some people connected to the Titans, that the Titans did like Michael Williams. So like there is some sort of connection there to the type of player that a Michael Williams is and the Titans. Here's the problem with that. You're entering year 2 of this patience rebuild that has not gone well in terms of patience. I don't know if you're necessarily in the area of
the more patience market.
Yeah, I don't know if you're in the area of getting another prospect or another project guy like that. You certainly, as Bork says here, he says it would be frustrating. Yeah, he looks the part, but where is the actual production? These kind of guys fail all the time. I as much as the upside is probably there, and maybe it's not like the ceiling might be higher with a guy like Falk than Bain. And this is me going into this conversation with very, very, very early knowledge and kind of insight into this class. But when I start to think about what and inform my opinions on what I think the Titans need to do in this draft, I think you need a guy who has some production. Like I'm going to be out no matter who the guy is at that pick. If you are taking and there are exceptions to this, but if you're taking a guy that is in that top 5 for an edge position or even a wide receiver, like I need a guy who has production and maybe doesn't have that sky high ceiling, but has like the floor, because that's what you need right now. Like, especially with, as we continue to talk about the Cam Ward of it all, in which like, does the conversation start even earlier next season if things don't start clicking early? Like, I think you need to put 2 or 3 guys in there that have a higher floor, maybe a lower ceiling, but can just produce and work at the NFL level to show proof of concept for this team. And so I think as much as that works, I think you need a guy that plays more edge, and that versatility doesn't quite matter. I think you need a guy that has the production more than the guy who can maybe produce, because while this is already a lottery ticket, as we continue to harp on year in and year out, why make your lottery ticket the odds even greater with that? Bet on someone who is more of a known commodity, in my opinion. And so that's why I am maybe not as fond of this, because the production simply hasn't been there. Now, is that because he plays for Auburn? I don't know. That's something that we'll have to continue to dive into. But that's where I stand on it. I think you need more than just a project in this rebuild.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And we will, I want to move on to the second pick because I find it more interesting for today's conversation. We certainly will talk a ton about Ruben Bain versus Keldrick Falk versus Arvel Reese versus, as Nick Ewing in the comments brings up, and Kenneth, is Bailey going in the first. David Bailey out of Texas Tech, a guy that I already mentioned, Zach Lyons. I know that he is Zach Lyons' favorite guy early on. On the consensus board, he is the 15th overall pick, the 4th edge on their board, but that's kind of the 4-pack of guys that I think, and TJ Parker out of Clemson. Those are the guys that we'll be talking about the most, I believe, as first-round edge prospects this year.
We didn't exactly even ask the question, but since they are kind of rolling in, might as well just go through the comments here on people's opinions of this pick right now. Sure. Our friend Drew over at Iron City Film says, go ahead and consider me out on Falk in the top 5. He says,
it's a gross misrepresentation of the facts, first of all.
I don't even consider myself that low on Falk, but top 5 and over Ruben Bain is wild. The tools are good, not great. Pass rush ceiling is just not there to justify that. High-end run defender, though, which has become is a big staple of this Tennessee Titans team and what they like to draft.
Nobody runs in the Tennessee Titans.
It doesn't end up working most of the time anyways. So frustrated Mime says Falk has the most upside in the draft. Anthony says, please don't draft projects. Anthony also says, we are not a team that can fix projects, which I think right now is fair enough. Edward says every pick has to be a day 1 starter.
Every pick?
Well, certainly if you're drafting in the top 5, you want them to...
Yeah, those guys.
You want them to be that.
Every pick?
If you're going to draft in the 12 to 17 range, you need a starter. I think you do have to you have to get this guy who is the guy you draft first has to be a day 1 starter, and he has to produce right off the rip. Mm-hmm. And I think he's going to be held to a higher standard.
Really, the production. I mean, because let's not lose our heads on this. First round picks are almost always day 1 starters or month 1 starters, right? Like, it's not like if you pick in the teens, suddenly that guy's not going to be a productive or not going to be a player for you this year. The question is, how productive are they going to be?
Yeah, and I think it's also going to be a very interesting conversation because at the end of the day, and I'm going to harp on this every single day that we probably talk about it, but there's going to be, and I'm already seeing the rumblings of it, but every person is going to have their opinion on edge versus wide receiver with that first pick. And if they take edge, people are going to go nuts because it wasn't a wide receiver. Mm-hmm. If it's a wide receiver, it's going to everybody who wants an edge is going to go crazy. Bottom line, they just need a good player. Like, they need a player that is going to produce at one of those positions. And I think with this trade back, they're going to get multiple. Titans 2-7 with the super chat says everyone wants an edge or wide receiver, and rightfully so, but they need Jeremiah Love.
Well, he raises you one. How about another position in the fray?
Changing RB.
I do love this notion that this team, for whatever reason, they just there's something magical about them that makes them unique in the sense that they need a game-changing running back.
Hey,
can't possibly have to do with the personnel on the team or the coach and the scheme. It's just the team.
Yeah. So, I thank you for the super chat there.
Another conversation we will have plenty, I'm sure.
We will have more of it. To the wide receiver?
To the wide receiver, and I want to ask our question. Here's the question, which we'll explain right away. Would you rather Cam Ward's number 1 wide receiver be a bigger-bodied guy or a shiftier guy? And the reason we ask that question is because with the 26th overall pick, Dane Brugler has the Titans taking KC Concepcion out of Texas A&M, wide receiver who Dane writes upgrades the offense around Cam Ward. He'll be the Titans' upgrading the offense around Cam Ward will be the Titans' highest priority this offseason. Whether lined up outside or in the slot, Concepcion is a dangerous snatch-and-go receiver who ranks top 10 in the FBS in yards after catch per reception at 7.6, adding a high upside pass rusher and an electric pass catcher, as the Titans have done in this mock, would be a great step forward. Now, that's why we asked the question, because Concepcion whose measurements I don't have right in front of me, but he is not the biggest guy in the world. He is a guy that can play inside out in terms of skill set, but from a body type standpoint, he probably projects more towards the inside, and that's why we are asking this question. Would you rather have a guy that's bigger bodied or shiftier? I have strong thoughts on this. JT, I'd imagine you do as well, but we'll talk about those thoughts and your answers to the question right after we tell you about our friends over at Barton Drury Insurance Group. Barton Drury Insurance Group is a fantastic local option for all of your insurance needs. Go and check them out for customized solutions at bartondrury.com. They are truly a one-stop shop for both your personal and business insurance needs, with over 40 years of serving Tennesseans. Austin and Zach bought from them for A to Z's corporate insurance and have loved the experience so far. It's been over a year now that we've been working with Barton Drury Insurance Group, and it's gone great. They sell employee benefits, 401k planning, life insurance, workers' comps, liability, auto, property, umbrella, and surety bonds. In other words, they sell everything you could possibly need from an insurance sales perspective. They are local and they strive to provide excellent service, but they also want to take the time to make sure everyone understands their insurance policies, which is the important part. Check them out today at bartondrury.com.
Yeah, also, Easton, I don't know if you saw this yesterday, but Big Ten Jeff had some very good news. He got I guess the next step of his job interview in his job search process, and that brought on some good news. And so guess what Austin said? Might as well give the good news to everybody in the A to Z Sports chat, and that's why the 20% discount code ATOZ20 when you go to our new merch store.
Has Austin's face always been on this, or am I just not noticing this?
Oh no, we have two.
Oh, okay.
We have the regular one. We have the regular one, and then we have Austin Mills or Davis Stanley or
Holy
Mike
neck,
Stanley,
that's crazy.
Austin Glennon, whatever you want to talk about. But also,
giraffe.
The neck is great, but look how good that sweatshirt looks on long
the neck is distracting.
Austin there. If you want to get some merch, we already know a lot of people have gotten it, and myself included. Use this code for the rest of the week. Austin said, why not keep the good times rolling there with everybody? Not just good news on a Friday, but good news for the rest of the week. So go get your merch there.
All right. So KJ Concepcion is the pick at 26.
He says that's the other guy's neck.
I don't know, man. It looks like your neck in the photo. So with Concepcion being a smaller guy, who I really should look up his projected measurements, but I'll send you to the chat, JT. Do folks prefer a bigger bodied guy for Cam Ward's number one receiver or a shiftier guy?
Yeah, Curtis says he wants a bigger body. Darren says he wants.
I keep saying KJ. I don't know why.
Darren says he wants a bigger body. Tall Texan says body skills can be developed, size can't. D-Dread says a big body receiver guy. Frustrated Mime says big guy. DK is already the shifty guy for the Titans so far. I'm what's popular says Titans need more speed, shiftiness, and playmakers. So it sounds like he's more of the shifty there. Bork says he wants a separator. So whether that is a big bodied separator or a shifty one, not sure. We'll see if he answers the question there in a second. Corey says big body. Chris says he just wants an elite guy. James says he wants a big bodied guy like Tet with the Panthers. Jeff says he's pretty sure that Concepcion has had drop issues a little this year. Could be wrong. Tom Thumb says, can we not want both? You're allowed to want both, but it's getting that at the 26th pick is not
5'11", 190, by the way.
5'11", 190. So undersized, more shifty guy there. Undersized for if he was going to play on the outside, which I don't think he would. Corey just says straight up, the Brugler mock is horrific. Okay. Anthony Cook says bigger guy. We already got the shifty type of guys now, or can get later in the draft or in free agent.
It's interesting. Why do folks have this idea in their heads that DK is like shifty guy just because he plays fast out of the slot a lot and he's fast?
I think so.
He's not like. Do y'all? If you think that he is like a Malik Neighbors type, check again. He's kind of a bigger, like on the scale, he leans slightly towards, he and Iron Man are on the bigger side in terms of profile. They're like straight line speed guys. Now they don't lack shiftiness, and DK is more shifty than Iron Man, but just because you play out of the slot doesn't make you like a little,
Yeah.
Malik Neighbors, who else could we talk about in this vein? I'm completely blanking.
I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, that's right.
Puka Nacua, like,
and even Puka's
guys.
like a real all around type. So.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, I mean, Drew also comes back and says, just draft dudes who separate. Concepcion, rock, slot, Z, versatility, dynamite after the catch, sick route runner, big body guy, says Anthony. They help in the red zone, need to be elite in the red zone. Listen, as much as they need a guy in the red zone, they kind of need to get to the red zone more often to begin with.
Can we get there first?
Yeah. But I get what you're saying there. This is where I end up on this take, and big here kind of, I like his comment. Cam fits with someone who gets open quickly, which is why maybe shifty is more of the way that I would lean. You need both kind of anyways, but like if it's going to come down to where they Jeff said no, not next step for his job. He got the job, but that was the good news there. So
well, that's the last step,
apologies.
is get the job.
Yeah.
So next step technically.
So I'm of the opinion here that like I think you want more of a shifty guy, but it's all going to come down to who's there, and because there is going to be a lot of different wide receivers available here in the first round. Carnell Tate, Jordan Tyson, Makai Lemon, Casey Concepcion. Like there's more guys are going to pop up. Like this is going to be a lot deeper of a draft class in the top 50 than last year was. And I mean, I don't want to go out on too big of a leg, but like as I start to watch this class, like it might even be more than the year before, which I think is a crazy thing to say. Like maybe not the top end, like top 10 talent, but the guys you can find between 10 and 50 are going to be those guys. I think there's going to be more available to you in the 15 to 35 range that are the shifty types than there are big bodied guys.
Right.
So that's why I kind of lean that way, that I think in that situation, the value versus the type of player you're getting is going to fit more of that shifty type of guy.
Yeah, I'm going to break our question and just kind of refuse to answer. I don't care. And at least one person said that. I want them to get Cam Ward a good receiver. Like what I care about is how good at football he is, not how big or how small he is. Part of that is because of the roster construction. Like the Titans, again, they have a group that's already, it's not like it's the way that the Steelers were before they brought in DK Metcalf this year, whereas like they've got all the smallest guys in the league. Like that, when you have a real tilt in your wide receiver room already, then that has to come into consideration for sure. The Titans don't really have that. Now, they don't have a true big-bodied alpha on the outside. The closest they have to that is Iron Manor, who maybe he develops into more of a ball winner in that way, but right now he's not. They don't have a true inside super duper shifty real small guy, but you don't have to have that to win in this league, and DK as a big slot is functionally just fine in that role, or in a similar role. So whether it's the biggest guy or the smallest guy in the draft class, if they're good at football and they get open early and they catch the ball and they like work well for Cam, welcome to the modern NFL. You know what I mean? Because we were talking about the Malik Neighbors of the world, the JSNs of the world, the Amon-Ra St. Browns of the world, smaller guys and slower guys. I mean, remember JSN? We're talking about like, he's a good football player, but the guy's he's not that fast. Who cares? How many deep touchdown passes has he caught this year? Not a whole lot of issues for him separating downfield, it seems. So I want guys that are good at football, and I don't really care what they look like necessarily. That's going to be whatever they look like is going to be the element of their game they hang their hat on, and we'll talk about that. But it's not like I'm sitting here saying the Titans must get a true. Like I want them to get DK Metcalf, AJ Brown. Like the guy needs to be 6'3", 220 on the outside and be an incredible contested catch winner because Cam Ward needs that guy. No, not necessarily. Cam Ward could use that guy. He could also use Malik Neighbors. He could use a guy that could catch the ball and get open. That's what I think he could use.
Yeah. Well, I like playing the game. I like playing in structure on this show. So I am going to pick
whatever.
Shifty.
Suck up. All right.
So sorry that I am not. I choose to stand on an opinion. So. It's not even a segue.
Transition, no. Cold throw to the segment.
Yeah.
Shout out to our friends at Wilson County Hyundai. Make Wilson County Hyundai a part of your new car buying process at wilsoncountyhyundai.com or in Lebanon in person. It is trivia time, so we need folks to log in.
Before we just got another super chat from Lil 27 DJ. I think that's how you say it. He says Cardinal Tate can route run, separate, and catch.
He goes fourth in this class or this mock draft.
He goes fourth. Wow.
So he was not even on the board for the Titans, by the way.
Yeah.
And he's going to be a top pick. I would imagine today he is probably going to be the top receiver off the board. The question is just how high. Is he really a top 5 pick? We'll see. I think he's probably a top 10 pick.
Fair enough. I think so as well. It's going to be.
And you go wrong drafting a receiver?
That's what I was about to say. Can you?
I don't think so.
I don't know. It would be in the Titans' nature though to take him, and he's the first Ohio State wide receiver to totally flame out at the NFL level in a long,
the 10th of his lineage was a failure.
Yeah,
that's right.
He's like the runt of the Lannister litter.
That's right. He finally runs the family name.
He's Tyrion Lannister.
Yeah, kind of. That's tough.
We're not saying that.
Separate.
I don't know. All right.
I talked to Ann, by the way, on Primetime on Tuesday, Ann Herndon, Trivia Queen, and was like, where are you? You disappeared.
She was here yesterday.
Was she? Okay.
Yes.
I was giving her a hard time. Turns out she works in emergency medicine, I believe.
Yes.
And so it's kind of hard. And I was like, fair enough. I don't want anybody dying at the expense of AtoZSports trivia in the mornings.
Clearly you didn't listen to yesterday's show because she came in here hot and heavy with some real world stuff that related to like her job and what that meant for like Titans and their job and psyche. And we had a psychological discussion. So you missed that. It was good.
Was she typing trivia answers with literal blood on her hands or something?
I don't know. She said she was here yesterday, but she wasn't going to be here today. So
great. Thanks a lot, Ann. How did yesterday go? How did we score?
We are stacking days on days right now.
Good days?
Great. Yeah, I mean, last week on our last show on Wednesday, we knocked it out of the park. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, we knocked it out of the park. Naturally, today we are going to suck. And Orlando, I don't know where the comment went, but he gave us a 4.5. So I feel like we're so far removed. We have to. Now we're back into it.
New bit on the show to I'm going to start dropping that whenever I don't have anything to say. Just that's the transition.
Yeah.
At the 13-minute mark of the show, I might start dropping that.
Or 4.5 says Orlando.
All right, I'm sharing my screen now. Look who wasn't ready. JT.
Yeah. Sorry.
Anyways, Daph says Easton reads with marbles in his mouth. I will read. I read the questions too dang fast. You're right. I do. I'll slow down. I'm just in a hurry to try to beat our times. So with that, we'll start with NFL. We'll go counterclockwise, end with celeb mashup. I will read them intelligibly. And here we go. NFL. This AFC team lost a 2023 first round and a 2024 third round pick due to tampering violations, including Sean Payton and Tom Brady.
The Dolphins, right?
Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
Geography. Beirut is the capital of this Middle Eastern country. I don't know for sure.
I want to say it's like around Jordan. Like that area. I don't know if it's Jordan. That sounds right to me, but I know it's around.
Perhaps someone in the chat is going to know this.
I mean, I feel like
Kuwait?
Ann would know. Lebanon?
Kuwait?
Beirut, Lebanon?
Oh, we're getting so many answers.
Miami?
Lebanon.
Lebanon.
Okay.
I'm going to go Lebanon. Beirut, Lebanon sounds right.
Nice. Television. Along with being an executive producer, this famous comedic actor had a recurring role as a car dealership owner, Ashley Schaefer, on HBO's Eastbound and Down. Never
heard of this show.
Eastbound and Down. So hopefully the chat has us on this. Who played Ashley Schaefer?
Will Ferrell, says Joshua, says Cristoforo, says Mike Peck. Will Ferrell.
We were talking about a girl, to be honest with you. I thought so too.
Okay.
Movies. A 12-year-old orphan befriends a captive orca who is wasting away at an ailing amusement park.
Free Willy.
Free Willy. Formed in 1997, Chris Martin is the lead vocalist and pianist of Coldplay.
All right, well, let's go. Good. Okay.
Michael Jackson had a famous accident where his hair caught on fire while filming a commercial for this soda brand in 1984. What? I'm not familiar with this story.
I feel like it's either Coke or Pepsi. Like, what else would it be?
Well, sure. Is it Pepsi?
Pepsi? Everyone, oh my God. 7 comments in a row. I did not know the lore
on this. All right, the old folks got us.
Yeah, all right, Pepsi.
Paul Pierce played his final 2 seasons with this Western Conference team from 2015 to 2017. Ooh, who did washed Paul Pierce play for? That sounds kind of right, but did he really go to the Lakers?
I want to say Lakers.
Houston?
I don't know about that.
He says
that's a question mark.
He's not
okay.
Sure. Clippers? Wait, Clippers feels right to me.
That's Clippers. 3 in a row. That's 4 in a row. I'm going Clippers.
It's the Clips. College football.
7.
2 Ohio State players finished top 4 in 2019 Heisman voting. Chase Young and this quarterback.
This is a Jeff question, but I know it's Justin Fields, right?
There you go.
Jeff's going to come in and say, it's Justin Fields.
That's right.
I know it.
Celeb mashup. Oh, on the outside, that's
a Spider-Man, right?
That's a Spider-Man, right? Yeah, that's a...
that's what I was about to say. Tom Holland?
The heck is his name? No, the first one.
Tobey Maguire?
Toby, that's right.
Okay.
How do you spell Maguire?
M-A-G?
Am I spelling Toby wrong?
No, I don't know. M-C-G-U-I-R-E.
He's not on here. Is that not Tobey Maguire?
I think it is. I think you're just spelling it wrong.
T-O-B-E-Y. Maguire.
No.
There we go. Okay, anyways, who's the girl?
Middle. Someone said Ashley Tisdale. I just don't see it.
Negative. No. Ellen DeGeneres. Also no.
Someone.
Of course,
help
we're having
us
a
out.
Good day, and then we get ruined on the celeb mashup.
Jeff says that question was wrong. It wasn't Justin Fields. Well,
okay. Well, we'll fact check that in a second.
It was 2019,
19,
right?
Not 18, Jeff.
Not 18.
Megan Fox?
Anne is not here.
A lady. Yeah, good job, Orlando. Thank you. I don't think it's Megan Fox.
I don't think so.
Maybe?
Either.
I don't know. This looks like generic Hollywood lady. I have no idea. No, it's not Sydney Sweeney.
We need a lesbian to save us. Bork is so correct.
We need the lesbian to save us.
Yes.
Where are you? She would know this. I feel it in my heart.
Go with your gut.
I have no gut feeling.
Okay, I do. I'm gonna go with. MB says it's the girl from Pretty Little Liars.
Okay, who's that?
I've never seen.
Jeanette McCarthy. I'm assuming they mean.
Well, we're over. Just go, Go Megan Fox. Who cares? We lost. We got ruined.
No, we're not even gonna.
Yeah, we're not gonna.
Look, no one got celeb mashup. No one. Who is this joker? Ashley Benson. Who is Ashley Benson?
I don't know. Look it up. Ashley Benson.
Family Guy, How I Met Your Mother. Oh, okay. I recognize her from How I Met Your Mother. Okay, but like, so who?
She was in.
Oh, she was in Pixels, guys.
She was in Pixels.
Should have known. She was in Pixels.
JT isn't old enough to watch our. People are saying that we are not. We should know what Eastbound and Dawn is.
I'm familiar with the name of the show, but I know nothing about it. I have heard of Eastbound and Down, but that is all.
I'll put it on the list. I bet Anne knows. Anne's going to come in tomorrow and say, I knew who that was.
Ashley.
And it's going to be all her fault. So,
I mean, the most notable thing by far that she has done is be a real character on How I Met Your Mother. Or I suppose
Family
the
Guy?
OC was very popular. I don't know what she did in the OC.
Who is she on Family Guy?
I don't know. Let's find out. Is there a cast here? Here we go. Well, not one of the main ones.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
I guess she appeared on Family Guy one time.
More than once. Okay.
So,
Well,
anyways, that's our show. Hope y'all enjoyed a little draft talk on a Thursday. Going to be more of a recurring weekly appointment, I'd imagine, as we get closer and closer to
more
the new
positivity.
year. That's right.
The season is almost over.
I mean, I had more fun than the alternative conversation. Tomorrow, it will be Austin and I talking about the
Shedeur
Titans
Sanders
and the Browns.
time.
That's right. Can't wait. Going to be a good time. Until then, you've got Buck Rising, primetime tonight, as well as again, de facto playoff game, a loser leaves town match between the Cowboys and the Lions. Going to be a good old time. Until the next morning, till tomorrow, for JTM Easton, have a great rest of your Thursday.